Hello, Steve Arts 89. Well, the Roseanne spin-off, The Connors, has ended after 7 seasons, and I did a video just talking about that, and I hadn't actually seen any footage. I wasn't really sure what happened in the final, but it's interesting. There's a couple of things. First off, the character of Mark left the show. My God, he's tall now. He left the show the episode before. There was like a going away thing. He went to college. So the final episode doesn't include him or DJ. DJ didn't come back. Now, I know the actor retired, but I would have thought he would have come back for at least the final episode. I mean, I get the idea that, it's not your life. He sort of didn't really continue acting after the show and everything. And I think it was a bit difficult for him to come back and do the show, but I just really surprised he didn't come back for the last episode. There are a couple of parts where he could have been in it without it being more than just him showing up on the night, really. So that was disappointing. But the weird thing was how they ended it by sort of dedicating the show to Roseanne, the character, obviously, not the person. And how they did it was, because one of these storylines that I didn't really know was continuing on, because I've only seen the first 2 years of the show, and then a few episodes from the third season when they're on TV here. Basically, Dan was trying to sue the company that made or promoted or sold or whatever the pills that Roseanne OD'd on, because in the story she OD'd on opioids, because there's an opioid crisis in America, because people are making money out of it, even though it's killing people. Because that's America, it's a capitalist society, and what does it matter if people die? That's making money, so that's what they're doing. So this apparently was going on, because I think it was briefly mentioned, but I didn't realize it was going to be an ongoing thing. And it ended. The last episode was Dan going to court, and he got to say his piece, but ultimately he didn't. I don't think he really won. They ended up giving him. This is so insulting. $700. I'm like, what is the point of that even? That's just an insult. So, like you said, if you want to know the worth of a connor's life, it's $700. And yeah, that last scene, the family, well, second last scene, I think, the second last scene, the family goes to Roseanne's grave, and they all speak to her and basically tell her how things are going and what's happening and so forth. And Sarah Gilbert has a moment where she seems to be speaking to, the Roseanne. Because the story is that she took advantage of the situation, took control of the show, and just, did it all for herself. And she seemed to be saying that I was doing what I thought you would do for the family, which was to keep things going, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, ooh, that was a bit awkward. But the other thing with that was that, well, like I said, they're talking to the character, and it was just really awkward. Like, why did they have to bring attention to her in the last episode when she's not there? Like that. I mean, it just was really weird because, it was just really weird. And what was really, really, really weird, though, was the very, very end, because the last scene is they're all just back home after they go to the funeral, the cemetery, and then they're leaving, and they all go to say goodnight, and they're all like in tears saying goodnight. And the excuse could be in the story that, well, they just had this sad, going to the funeral, going to the cemetery thing. They're a bit more emotional than normal or something. So everyone says goodnight, 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 and then it's this Dan Connor sitting on the couch, and he looks at the camera and says to the audience, breaks the fourth wall and says good night, and then he walks off and goes back into the goes back behind the fourth wall again, and then goes into his bedroom to go to sleep. Well, it's not really his bedroom, of course, it's set, but that's sort of the end. But then the last credits, they have a couple of scenes of Darlene and Becky and other characters from the original Roseanne show. I'm like, it's not shots of DJ or people who aren't on the show or people who passed or anything. I'm not sure why they did that, so that's weird. But I just thought it was interesting that they went back to the cemetery and that they used the whole opioid thing as an ongoing story, and it was interesting. And the good thing about it is it's not one of those finals where they change everything, like the bar shuts down, everybody leaves, everyone moves to another city or something. They're just going to go on like normal the next day, and I like that about the show, because the show came after my mother died, and life does go on, and the fact that life went on after Roseanne passed, it was a good message overall, like, for a life and show like that, to just have the family keep going. Despite all the dramas and all that, I do like the show. I will be buying it. I will watch it because I like the characters. I don't like how things went down. But, yep. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the final episode of Roseanne and how they honoured Roseanne and that in the final episode.